All right. So I'm Eric O'Connor here with Nicole Christensen. We are co-managing editors of The Professional Coach. What we have here is a series we like to bring to you guys. Basically, there's a full class available online for you guys to watch of Nicole running a class just from start to finish. And what we're going to do, we're going to take sections of that class and really just break it down, do a bit of a play-by-play. And it's meant to be sections that everyone as a coach has encountered at some point in time and has maybe been like, well, what do I do in this situation? So we're going to dig into the nuances of coaching in this 1 minute and 15-second clip that we got here for you guys today. Just to kind of put the framing out there, this is a class at Ute CrossFit. We were guests there for a day coaching and just having some realistic coaching scenarios. And the workout that Nicole was running is 21, 15, 9 of a strict handstand push-up, a front squat, and a box jump. And when we start this thing off, what you guys are going to see here is that we are in the very first round of this workout. And actually the very first movement on the very first round of this workout. We're going to watch this whole 1 minute and 15-second clip, and then we'll break it down play by play afterwards. Let's watch. Nicole, enjoy watching yourself on camera, which no
So
one does.
painful.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, you got it. Yep, good. Okay. What number is this? 5. Okay. So you're using, gravity's winning right now. So when you go down, I want you to think that you're pulling down rather than you're relaxing, and then you kind of got to try to push out of nothing, right? You have no tension, okay? So go back up. Okay, pull down, push hard. Okay, it's all right. What do you think?
Or either go keeping or go to the box.
We're not going to kip because we're going to keep it strict. Let's go box. Okay, you're good. All right, let's have you jump in on this one right now. Okay, so do your, you got, how many did you get out?
4.
4, so let's go ahead and go 17 there. Yep. That's it, Rhonda. At the very end, think hips down, not back. Yep. Good. And so when you press up, though, push your nose to the top. Push up and through every time. Down and away, up and through. Down and away, up and through. There you go.
And we can pause it there. All right. So when you go back, let's go ahead and break this thing down kind of piece by piece.
Do we want to break down the fact that I'm wearing the same sweatshirt? That maybe I just don't have any other sweatshirts in my repertoire.
I think everyone can resonate
now.
with that. I
Okay,
have
good.
5 shirts that I wear on a rotating basis
Perfect.
throughout the week.
Perfect.
Okay, so we're gonna take a look at like a 15, 20-second clip here. Let's talk about just like the very beginning. Well, let's watch this piece.
What number is that one?
Just one more.
Okay, you got it. Yep, good. Okay. What number is this? 5. Okay. So you're using, gravity's winning right now. So when you go down, I want you to think that you're pulling down rather than you're relaxing, and then you got to try to push out of nothing, right? You have no tension. Okay. So go. All
right. So let's talk about this right here. This is just like seeing and correcting 101 essentially happening here. So you watch the athlete do a rep, you saw him fail the rep, which we've all have accomplished with like have encountered with a handstand push-up at some point in time. So what was kind of your mindset right here, right now, when you're kind of getting ready to cue him for the next rep?
Main things going through my head were kind of remembering how we got to the scaled option that we did. So, this was the first time I met these guys. So in warm up, we had gone through the various litmus tests you had to show capacity to be able to do a certain scaling option. So for this one, I remember it was 5 strict handstand push-ups. You had to be able to do 5 strict in a row in warm-up in order to do the scaling option, which was 7, 5, and 3 strict handstand push-ups in the workout. And so the first thing that's going through my head is I should have trusted my gut a little bit more, because in warm-up, Carlos got 4. And that's not 5. And I know that seems close, but there's a reason that those numbers, that like I knew those numbers were there. At the same time, it was kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt. I didn't know him as an athlete. I didn't know him before. And so if the first interaction he has with me is that like I bet against him, it's a harder relationship, I think, to get to where I do think we got in the end, which was, you'll see, when we scaled to the box, rather than just starting with that out the gate. So the first thing I was thinking was more like, okay, yeah, we didn't get the 5 strict, so this kind of makes sense. The second thing was just that the quality of the rep that he did when he failed, I was not convinced. I was pretty sure he was not going to get this one when he did it. But again, kind of working along with the athlete to let them try one more time and try to coach them out of that. So the 2 things that stood out there was just the kind of the dive bomber into the bottom of the handstand push-up. So he's not really getting set at the top and then executing a rep. It's like, as he goes up, he's starting into the bottom of it at the same time. And then just that, he's able to get like 2 inches out of the bottom, and nothing further. So
yeah. And that's a piece of the, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So that's a piece of the class which we haven't seen. You've already had this interaction. You've already gone through a whole skill session, which, if you guys take the time to watch the full hour class that you have access to, you'll see that process go down prior to this. And you did a test. You did a test for the correct scaling option. You didn't go with your gut. And a lot of that was just like a positive mindset thing for him, right? He wanted to kind of give it a go. And you didn't feel like he was going to be putting himself at risk by giving it a shot, right?
I didn't feel that he was putting himself at risk at all. Yeah.
Cool. I think that sets the tone about, that you can have these things written down on paper about, hey, I'm going to do this in this situation, but you're going to have times where you have to read your athlete, and then maybe you deviate from that plan while still together, right? You come with up with a solution together.
Yeah, and I think it's a good example. Like if I had been at my home gym at Roots, then because I know every athlete, then if the athlete had done 4 in a row, which wasn't 5, I would have had enough background knowledge about that athlete as well to be able to be like, okay, today's not the day to get the intended stimulus and finish in that 7 to 12 time domain and all that stuff. But again, just like in this situation, it was like, all right, well, let's bet on the athlete this first time.
Cool. So you give the cue, now you're going to check to see if it gets better, right?
Back up.
Yeah.
Okay, pull down, push hard. Okay, it's all right. What do you think?
Or either go keeping or go to the box.
We're not going to kip because we're going to keep it strict. So let's go box. Okay.
Cool. So I think that's an important part here, right? Again, you guys are kind of working together to come up with what the next step is going to be. There is a suggestion of kipping. Why did you not let him do that?
A couple of different reasons. One, that wasn't offered at the onset of the class. And I think that it speaks to the athlete wanting to do what we're good at and what we're comfortable with. Like Carlos is a great athlete. He has, good kipping handstand push-ups, but the intent for today was to work on strict strength. So in the same way that if I let athletes always do kipping pull-ups instead of strict pull-ups, if they're in the workout, their strict pull-ups are not going to get better at the same rate. And so, keeping the athletes in the right zone, right in the lane of like, nope, today we're working on strict strength. So whatever scaling options we go to are going to preserve that strict strength. And I think we did cover that at the front of the whiteboard. But in that moment, it's like, yeah, I'll just do kipping. So it was just a quick like, well, we're not going to do that today. So let's go back to the other options.
Yeah. And I think he was totally fine with that because you had outlined that in the very beginning. Now, my question to you, like, do you always do that for a strict handstand push-up, or are there times you do allow people to kip?
Yeah. So it's not a one way all the time. There are definitely times when we're going to make the scaling option that if you don't yet have strict pull-ups today, you're going to do kipping pull-ups, or maybe it's a chest to bar. If you're really good at kipping pull-ups, but you don't have the volume chest of strict pull-ups, or something like in a handstand push-up, having some days when kipping is the scaling option. I think that just goes back to everything we talk about. Your scaling option should not be set in stone. And I think there's another layer too, because what you have to be prepared with when you do that is athletes are gonna be like, well, we can't do kipping today. And it's like, nope, today we're going to work on this. you know, so you also have to be able to kind of back it up. And the other thing I think is important too, and I think we see this when Carlos goes to the box, is that the scaling option for him has to be challenging.
Yeah.
Right. So if his view is that it's either strict handstand push-ups, which are, you know, hard, or something on the box that is easy, well, then we're not filling in the gap to help them, the athletes, see that like, no, this is a bridge to get to where you want to go, rather than something where you just kind of is a drop in the bucket. So I think that's an important thing of scaling there.
Extremely important, especially for an athlete like Carlos here, who's a good athlete, has been around for a while. You know, if he always scales the same way all the time, then that's where plateau happens, right? So having days
Absolutely.
as a coach where it's like, hey, you know what? These are going to be maybe my two main options. I'm going to have people scale, but knowing it to deviate a little bit to make sure these intermediate athletes that are pretty competent at what they're doing get some variance in their scaling, and they can help to avoid plateau.
Right. I mean, and at the end of the day, right, scaling isn't about an easier option. It's about finding the like precise, exact, perfect level of challenge for each athlete in your class. Right.
Yep.
And then, and that's how people start to trust the process. Like, okay, well, that got me to here, and then it got me here, and then it got me here.
Yeah. Let's watch this thing through, okay?
Good. All right. Let's have you jump in on this one right now. Okay. So do your, you got, how many did you get out? 4. So let's go ahead and go 17 there.
Good math.
Yep.
To get to 21.
I like math.
Yep. That's it, Rhonda. At the very end, think hips down, not back. Yep. Good. And so when you press up, though, push your nose to the top. Push up and through every time. Down and away, up and through. Down and away, up and through. There you go.
All right. We can stop it there. So a couple things happened there in that clip that I see. So you guys came up with the solution for the box, took him to the box. At that point, you know, it's like, I got to cue the rest of the class going on. So I think that's the one thing. And like, it can be lost on that being an art of this. You know, you only been working with Carlos for about 55 seconds to that point. But when walking over, it's like, hey, I got to cue some people doing their squats. Did you feel like you got trapped there a little bit, or were you okay with that?
I was on the edge of being trapped, right?
Yeah.
That's how I felt. Like, I was like, we got to keep moving. And I think there's two things there. One, like, I was very aware that I had my back to the class when I was talking to Carlos. So I was not, for those 55 seconds, I wasn't seeing what was going on.
Yep.
The second thing, which is interesting when we talk about like the class dynamics and having scaling options, if I had kept letting Carlos try another one, then I'm spending a disproportionate amount of time with that one athlete trying to get him one handstand push-up. Whereas it was kind of like, hey, not just for him as an athlete and his development, but for the class as a whole, I kind of had to cut my losses and say, like, we're going to the box.
Yeah.
So that I could go back and be able to see everybody. And then I think, you know, just because, you know, they hadn't really heard any coaching or any engagement, it was easy to just say like, okay, let's get them on the box. Let's let them do a few reps. I don't even think I'm looking at them the first couple. And I'm just kind of scanning the room and making sure like I didn't miss somebody else, you know, with too heavy of a front squat or too heavy, you know, or anything like that. Cause again, it was that first round. It was the first time I'd seen those guys actually hit a workout.
Yep. Yeah. And again, like, you know, if everyone takes the time to watch the full class, they'll see how you prepped everyone for the front squat as well, and how you did a great job of like managing their loads. So like when I was watching this just off to the side when this class was going down, I was like, these guys have the right weight for their front squats. Yeah, just judging the whole time. Critiquing. I felt really good about the loads that they had for that part of the workout. And then, you know, take into account like a minute time frame here. You've watched him, you've scaled him further, and you've given like 2 or 3 cues across the group right now. So that I know that feels like a long time, but it's really not. And then I think the second thing I want to hit here is that you did scan the group and you went right back to watching Carlos with the assumption that he might not be doing this thing correctly.
Right. Yeah. You know, it wasn't just like go to the box and do it and I'll move on.
And then walk away.
Yeah, exactly.
You showed a great display of math skills about how to get to 21. And then you did a good job of getting Carlos into a tripod position and getting the body line that you wanted to have happen here in the box as well.
Yeah. Well, I think something that's interesting here is our scaling options often become the buildup of our movements to the full movement.
Yeah.
But it's all the more reason that the precision for which we encourage and help athletes that are maybe the better athletes, or maybe the athletes that are going to do kipping pull-up, or kipping handstand push-ups or handstand push-ups, that we're still I can't speak right now, that we're still requiring the same level of precision when they're on the box.
Yeah.
Because what I'm seeing here is I didn't do a good job of enforcing in warm-up for him that he knew the parameters of how we're doing the handstand push-up from the box. And if you think about it, like that error there is potentially contributing to why he's not moving along with the handstand push-up. So I do think it all adds up.
Yeah.
As an athlete's going through all these different steps. Yeah.
And I think again, we didn't see this part, but he'd already done this, right? And as part of the skill work. So I think, we get questions a lot of times about, man, how do I teach a complex gymnastic movement? And you're exactly right. Like, you have your scales built to the full movement. And every athlete's going to have somewhere along the line there where they can stay or progress to. If you're worried about managing a class with that type of thing.
It's like an insurance policy in a way, right? So it's like if everyone just goes and does their own option, well, then when that one option that they practice in warm up doesn't work for them and they need to go to something else, now you're back to like teaching them from square one because they didn't go through it. And then the better athletes aren't getting the refinement and the development of that skill at a higher level by going through the progression, and pausing and holding and all those different elements, of making movement better and practicing it.
I think one last thing I'll hit here with this is, like, this looks pretty seamless to me. It looked pretty smooth about how you went on from the wall to trying it again and then going back to the box. And I think it just kind of shows that having your stuff planned in advance can be extremely helpful. So when you are thrown in a tricky situation, you kind of know what exactly to do with that person, or it's just not going to take you as long to process what to do.
Absolutely. I mean, that's sort of that's why the preparation on the front end makes such a difference. Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Anything else you want to add on this? You like watching yourself coach? Listening to yourself?
No, it reinforces that I walk like a duck, but that's another topic.
That is another topic. Maybe we can work on that. So I hope you guys
tried it for 15 years.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the clip. We'll try to bring out a few more of these. In the meantime, you can check out the full class and see, like, just a full class broken down. If you're anything like me, you just love watching other people coach and you try to rip off what they do well and then really just criticize everything that you didn't like as well. So enjoy that, team. Until next time.
All right. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, thank you.